Right now, somewhere in your house, there's a version of you from this morning who already forgot what he had for breakfast. And you didn't even notice the handoff happen. You just call it being a little forgetful and move on with your day. Now stretch that out all the way. Picture waking up tomorrow and your brain has wiped the entire hard drive overnight, not just breakfast, all of it. Your name, your job, the people who love you, even what your own face looks like before you check the mirror. The scary part isn't the waking up confused. The scary part is that somewhere around lunchtime you'd probably be totally fine, which honestly says something kind of unsettling about how replaceable the version of you reading this right now really is. Somewhere out there is a guy who has watched the same plot twist in the same movie 4 separate times this year and gasped for real every single time. And he's about to become the most relatable person on the internet. For real, bro, here where we say what no one else will. This video is called, What If You Lost All Your Memories Every Single Morning? And yes, that's exactly the rabbit hole we're going down today. So you're in the right place. Before you assume this is some sad hospital drama thing, it isn't. This gets way weirder than that. And there's a twist coming about the one part of you that would never actually forget anything, no matter how hard your brain tried. Part 1. The morning you meet a stranger in the mirror. Let's walk through this morning for a second because it gets stranger the longer you sit with it. You'd open your eyes in a bed that means nothing to you, in a room full of objects that used to be your whole personality, and now just look like evidence at a crime scene. And the first real decision of your day would be figuring out whether the human breathing next to you is your partner or a very confused stranger. Your own face in the mirror would hit different too, because recognizing yourself isn't instinct, it's memory. Which means for a few horrifying seconds, you'd be a complete stranger to the one person who's supposed to know you best. You probably find sticky notes everywhere, your past self leaving you instructions like a tiny, desperate government. This is your dog, this is your coffee order, do not text your ex. The kind of notes that sound paranoid until you realize past you wrote every single one of them with full confidence and zero memory that you'd ever read them. Somewhere in that pile would be a note explaining your own job to you like you're a new hire who skipped orientation. Now here's where it flips though, because you'd assume a brain with zero memory means a person who can barely function. That's not what would happen. Give it a few hours and you'd be making coffee the exact same way, walking the exact same route, reaching for your phone the exact same number of times, because most of what runs your day was never sitting in your memory to begin with. It was sitting somewhere deeper that doesn't erase that easily. Things are about to become much bigger than you expected. Part 2. The clean slate everyone secretly wants. Let's give this its fair shot for a second because there's a genuinely tempting version of this story hiding inside it. No memory means no regret. No humiliating thing you said in a meeting 8 years ago that still wakes you up at 2 in the morning. No grudges. No replaying an argument with your mom for the 400th time looking for the version where you win. Every single fight would dissolve by sunrise. Nobody could hold anything against you past breakfast, because the part of the brain that keeps score would be wiped clean every single night. You could re-watch your favorite movie and feel that ending hit you for the first time. Forever, on a permanent loop of genuine surprise, which honestly sounds like the closest thing to magic a human could legally experience. For about 5 minutes, that sounds like the best deal in the universe, finally free from your own worst memories, finally nobody able to bring up that thing from college again. But there's a quiet problem nobody puts in the highlight reel version of this idea. You wouldn't actually be free of your mistakes. You'd just be unable to recognize them as mistakes, which means you'd make the exact same one again tomorrow with the same confidence as the first time. Because forgetting a lesson doesn't erase the habit that caused it. It just removes your ability to notice the pattern. You already know this a little. You've watched someone swear they're done with a certain person or a certain bad decision, and then watch them make that same decision again 6 months later like it's a brand new idea. The thing helping you may also be hurting you. Part 3. The people who have to remember you for both of you. Shh. This is the part that should really bother you. Every relationship you have runs on shared memory, inside jokes, the fight you survived together, the trip where everything went wrong and somehow became the story you tell at every dinner party for the next decade. Take the memory away from one person in that relationship, and the other person becomes the only one carrying the whole history alone, basically narrating a life back to someone who has to take it on faith every single day. That's not really that far from real situations that already exist, where someone loves a person whose memory doesn't hold the way it used to, and has to reintroduce themselves with patience instead of getting to just be remembered, which is a kind of quiet, exhausting love most people never think about until it happens to their own family. You'd think a relationship like that would eventually just break. Because how much can one person carry alone before they stop trying? It doesn't break as often as you'd guess though. Because love apparently doesn't need to be remembered to be real. It just needs to be chosen again. Which sounds sweet, until you realize that means the other person is choosing you completely fresh every day, with absolutely no proof you're worth choosing, except how you happen to treat them in that exact moment. That's the real trap hiding inside this whole idea. You'd get to start every single day as a better, kinder, more patient version of yourself with no baggage holding you back. Except you wouldn't, because the people who showed you patience yesterday don't get a refund on the version of you who forgot to be grateful for it. You are now trapped inside something you thought you wanted. Part 4. The part of you that would never actually forget. Now for the twist from earlier. The one about the part of you that wouldn't forget no matter how hard your brain tried. You'd logically assume a wiped memory means a totally blank, reinventable person. A fresh personality every single day with no fixed identity holding it back. That's not how it would go. And scientists who've studied real cases of severe memory loss have found something wild about it. People can lose the ability to remember learning a new skill entirely, and still get better at that exact skill every single time they try it. Because the part of your brain that handles habit and movement runs on a completely different system from the part that handles memory, and it doesn't ask your permission to keep functioning. That means your taste in music wouldn't reset, your fear of spiders wouldn't reset. The specific way you bite your nails when you're nervous wouldn't reset. Even your political opinions and your weird crush on a person you've never technically met today would probably snap right back into place. Because identity was never really stored in the part of you that's getting erased every morning. It was stored somewhere you're forgetting genuinely can't reach. That should make you a little uncomfortable because it means even with a brain wiped completely clean every single day, you'd still wake up and somehow become exactly yourself again by lunchtime. Same opinions, same habits, same nervous laugh, like your personality is less a memory and more a setting that gets restored automatically every time the system reboots. The part nobody wants to admit out loud is that the version of you who's terrified of becoming a totally different person every day was never actually at risk. The real fear was always the opposite. Finding out you'd be exactly this person forever, with or without the memories to explain why. There is one final truth nobody saw coming. Part 5. What memory was never actually formed. So this is the part where everything clicks into place, and it was never really about losing your memory at all. Memory was just the costume the real idea was wearing this whole time. The real question underneath everything is how much of who you are was ever something you consciously chose, versus something that just kept running on default while you weren't paying attention. And that question doesn't even require losing a single memory to be true. You already forget almost all of your ordinary days. Scientists who study this have found you mostly hold on to the moments that felt emotionally loud enough to matter, which means most of your actual life has already quietly evaporated. And you didn't need a magic curse for that to happen, you just needed it to be a normal Tuesday. Losing your memories every morning was never really the nightmare. That's the part that hits different once you sit with it. The real nightmare is realizing you're already running on yesterday's patterns most of the time. Reacting the same way to the same kind of comment, falling for the same kind of person, scrolling for the same amount of time you swore you wouldn't, all without anything as dramatic as full memory loss to blame it on. Remember that guy from the beginning of this video? The one who gasps at the same movie twist every single time like it's brand new. He's not broken, and he's definitely not the saddest person in this video. He's just the most honest one, because at least his forgetting is visible. At least he knows he's on a loop, while the rest of us are quietly rewatching our own lives on repeat, and calling it a personality. That's the part that's going to follow you out of this video whether you like it or not. So go ahead and comment the one habit you've repeated so many times you're pretty sure you could do it with zero memory of ever learning it. Because apparently identity might just be a really committed routine wearing a name tag. And somebody in these replies needs to hear that. And if you're sitting there wondering whether you should subscribe, don't stress about it. You'll probably forget you didn't, and click it again next week out of pure habit anyway. Which honestly, at this point in the video, tracks perfectly with everything we just talked about.